The funniest thing is when we first found out, I started getting online. I'm like, oh, look, they're close to the ocean there. So maybe I'll go live in Galveston, So I started pulling up houses in Galveston, and everything's on stilts, and the water's brown. And I was like, whoa, what is going on here?
We're sitting there in Galveston, Texas, right where that dirty water washed up on the beach. They can't even get in the water.
Hey y'all, welcome to the Cool Bus Houston Show. My name is Lance Cavazos. I'm your ambassador of fun. On today's episode, we are interviewing former MLS player, 3-time MLS Cup champion, and former U.S. soccer player, Brian Ching. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Grew up in Hawaii, wanted to be a professional surfer, failed miserably at that. My dad was a beach boy in Waikiki. My mom lived on the North Shore, spent every day in the water, and just kind of fell into soccer after a while. And my mom was like, hey, you want to play sports? And I was like, what? She's like, soccer. I was like, what is that? So she ended up being my first coach. And then I kind of fell in love with the sport after that and just kind of played it, and there was no league around and I didn't know about European soccer at that point. So it was just kind of more of a fun thing. And then I wanted to leave the islands to kind of experience something different. And so, I was kind of thinking, hey, what am I good at? And so I was like, soccer. So just really set my mind to trying to get a college scholarship, and was fortunate enough to get one college scholarship to Gonzaga University, and the rest is history after that.
What was it like being the first Hawaiian player drafted for the MLS?
You really don't think about it at the time. It wasn't until I was kind of done that I really reflected on, oh wow, I've come a long way. Like I was a young boy on the island in the middle of the Pacific, and to be able to kind of go from that wanting to be a professional surfer to totally changing and becoming a professional soccer player was quite the journey. And not many people could do that or would do that or have done that. And so, being the first Hawaiian, it's pretty special, right? Because then, when I went back to talk to kids, it's always like, oh, okay, I want to be like you. So you kind of give them the vision that they can dream, I guess, about doing it now. And so there's been a number of kids after that have made it to the MLS, which has been pretty special to see and be a small part of.
So you used to play for San Jose Earthquakes. They relocated to Houston in 2006. Did you know anything about Houston at all before 2006?
No, the funniest thing is when we first found out, I started getting online. I'm like, oh, look, they're close to the ocean there. So maybe I'll go live in Galveston, So I started pulling up houses in Galveston, and everything's on stilts, and the water's brown. And I was like, whoa, what is going on here?
We're sitting there in Galveston, Texas, right where that dirty water washed up on the beach. They can't even get in the water.
Yeah, the Galveston water, very different.
Well, for sure. You grew up in Hawaii, you're pretty spoiled.
Yeah.
We got waves, you got
Then you're in California,
right?
And
California was nice, but it was cold, So obviously squashed that thought real quick. But basically had one day to find a place, and saw a place in the Galleria and ended up buying it and moving to Houston.
So you were the star of the Houston Dynamo team, especially the team back in 2006, 2007, that won back-to-back championships. Tell us a little bit about your experience and what it was like to be part of those two back-to-back championship squads.
I think for me, my favorite, season or team would probably be that 2006 team, because the relocation of all of us, the franchise, and then, we're not making millions of dollars. Half the time, half the families were stuck in, San Jose while, we were here in Houston, and they had to finish out school. So having to deal with all of that and then come here and deal with the heat and, so many different factors that, I think for us, we kind of pulled it all together on the field every time we stepped on the field. And, we're such a tight-knit group that, we were kind of like us against the world. We're going to do this. We're going to prove you guys all wrong. And, to be able to kind of come through that season and win the championship was pretty special and pretty amazing. And I don't think a lot of groups or teams could have been able to pull that off. We were out to kind of prove to the league, don't count us out. Don't try to stack the deck against us, because we're going to come out swinging. That's what we did, and extremely proud of the guys for everything they accomplished that year.
So the first game of that season, you scored 4 goals to like make your grand entrance into Houston. How cool was that?
I mean, it was pretty special. I've never scored 4 goals in a game before, and so for it just to kind of culminate in that was quite the intro to Houston, not only for our team but for myself personally, and never did it again after that. So it must have been a special day.
So did you feel like every time you touched the ball, it was going in the net? Like I would assume that would be like an NBA player just getting on fire, right?
To be honest, like I don't feel like I had a great game technically, but every time the ball was in the box, it was in the perfect moment, and I was able to finish it, and that's kind of what you do as a striker sometimes, right? If you watch my career, most of my goals are because of great passes from teammates and things like that. So I've been fortunate enough to be on a great team, and obviously that was a great team that we put on the field that first day.
Well, one of the things about our show, I like to visit different locations around town.
Yeah.
Today we're at Pitch 25. Tell us a little bit why you decided Pitch 25 to show up.
I guess the whole concept started when I drove by this building on the way to the stadium like every day. I was like, what's going on there? There was nothing. It was kind of an empty furniture factory that's been sitting empty for a number of years. And I always knew that people love getting together for big soccer watch parties, right? And so I thought, hey, maybe if I did a sports bar, I think people will come. I think, I can get that crowd of people in there, and, partner with a couple of great guys, the Kirby group, and they really kind of helped bring my dream to life in a lot of ways, and one of my favorite things about this place is how it brings people together. It's kind of like our city, it's so diverse. Soccer is a worldwide sport. You're seeing, people from, England, Germany, France. And the thing I love about it the most is just the atmosphere that it brings for these big watch parties, and there's something to do for everybody. I mean, we have dodgeball on the weekend, we got axe throwing every once in a while, we got a bunch of games, and the way the place just kind of brings friends together to come and have out and have a good time is probably what I like seeing the most.
Yeah.
When I walk in, I really love the concept and kind of want to share it with more of the country at some point. Probably one of my main goals in the next 5-10 years.
That's awesome, man. That's so exciting. You're big into the community as well. You partner with Habitat for Humanity under your program, the house that Ching built. Tell me a little bit more about what's been important to you about giving back to the community.
I always enjoy giving back. It makes me feel good inside, and you can see the impact that you do have. And so in the early years, we had a great culture of guys going out in the community, and part of it was trying to grow the game too. I think we felt an obligation to do that as well. And part of that's getting out in the community and doing things. And fortunately for me, been helped along by, the Houston Dynamo to get behind every initiative that I put out there. And then, Habitat for Humanity, a great group of people over there, and became a passion of mine over the years to kind of help them. And so it's always been a part of, I guess, who I was and what I like to do. And so, hopefully I can continue to kind of do that more and more in the future.
So your career spanned 12 years. What would you say was your favorite stadium that you played in?
One of the coolest stadiums that I ever got playing was with the U.S. men's national team. We went down to play Mexico in a qualifier, and you get 100,000 Mexicans screaming at you. It's quite the atmosphere. It's also at altitude, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to play, and it is a little intimidating, when you go in there. But, for me, it was like one of my coolest soccer moments because it's such a iconic stadium.
Right.
And, not ever growing up, thinking about playing soccer professionally, to be able to go into probably one of the most iconic places to actually play a match was pretty special, and memories I'll always remember.
What was that like, being able to represent your country? You're just one of a handful of guys to be out there and represent USA.
Yeah, it was amazing, and then it sucked at the same time, right? Because I didn't get to play. But one of my proudest moments, I think, comes from that World Cup. It's just being on the sidelines, singing the national anthem. I think we're playing Italy in that game, and for something in that moment, that's when it kind of just hit me. I was like, oh my goodness, you come from this small rock in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and now you're in the world's biggest sporting event representing your country, and that just kind of gave me chills just while the national anthem's going on. It was a great experience for me, one that I'll cherish forever, and something I can just say I did it.
When you lay your head down at night, is there one goal that you keep repeating in yourself? Man, that was my best goal ever. That was my favorite goal. I can't believe I scored that goal at that time.
Probably one of the most iconic one was probably scoring in the MLS Cup final in 2006. You know, it was kind of a boring game. You know, we ended up being 0-0 at the end of regulation, and so we go into overtime, and you know, they end up scoring in overtime, and you know, it's pretty much, you know, I think there's like 5 to 6 minutes left in the game, right? And so everyone's kind of like, well, this is probably over. I think our owner actually left the owner's box because he was like distraught, and he's like, oh, forget it. And then so like literally right off the kickoff, you know, 30 seconds later, we go straight down the field, ball gets crossed, get a little bit of lucky deflection off a guy, but it falls to me right in the box, and I head it in and tied the game like less than a minute after they scored. From a timing standpoint and being in the biggest moment in a big game, that was probably one of the best goals ever. And then I think my first goal with the men's national team was down in Jamaica. About 20 minutes left in the game, and as soon as I got on the field, I had a wide open header, one that I normally score, and I missed wide, and you know, I was like, no, you know, we're down 1-0, and I was like, you know, give me another chance. I just kept saying, give me another chance, give me another chance, give me another chance, and I think it was like less than 5 minutes to go in the game. You know, Landon plays me a ball, and I get a shot off and end up scoring. So it was an important point for us in the qualifying process for the World Cup, and so, you know, that for me was another one of my special goals that I like to remember.
We like to end each interview with what we call rush hour questions, little rapid fire, one-word answers. It's an intense session right here.
Go at me.
So what's your favorite sport outside of soccer?
Surfing.
Your favorite soccer team other than Dynamo?
Manchester United.
Your favorite athlete?
You know, I'm always fascinated with all the best. You know, when Lance Armstrong was there, I read his autobiography, Shaquille O'Neal, Muhammad Ali, read a lot of their autobiographies. And it's one thing to be a good athlete, but it's a different thing to be the best. And, you know, what drives them always is fascinating.
So outside of Pitch 25, what's your favorite restaurant in Houston?
El Tiempo, maybe?
What's your favorite area or neighborhood of Houston?
I liked Oak Forest for when I lived there, and now, you know, I love the area that I just moved into by Memorial Park.
And what would you say your favorite TV show is?
Game of Thrones, yeah.
Well, that wraps up our rapid fire questions. You ready to go check out Pitch 25?
Awesome, yeah. Look forward to it.
All right, let's do it.